Hi, George O'Connell here, another living room chat. Now, I'm going to give a little bit of a history lesson and explain my comment yesterday on the board because it drew a lot of ear. Now, you got to remember, I am a Northeast player. Played up in Syracuse, played with a group that was, it's defunct now because it was the Hammer Boys. And in the Northeast, which really set up, their mindset with the Mid-Atlantic was the ones that really set up the U.S. Masters. Here's the mindset of the Northeast. Okay, it's common practice and common knowledge that when you're in the Northeast, and I'm sure it happens down here in the Southeast too, the clubs, because when they know it's going to be a real tight game, okay, club members, if you played one of your club members, will give you a high sports score. That's just common knowledge. And if you played against that club member, say, I'm playing against Easy Riders, we'll make up a club name, okay? I do not expect to get one of their +1 votes. So when I made my comment, or not +1 votes, but be their favorite opponent, especially if it's me and one of Club Easy Riders players battling for the top, that's just common sense, okay? Northeast, it was common practice, super common practice. That's why some of the rules you now see in the Masters is all because of that stuff from up in the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic areas. So, like when I posted, because for the Northeast gamer, they understand right off the bat. If I sit there and say, okay, you know, what happened with your sports score? And I said, well, I was tied with the person that was up at front. I played 3 of these club members. They automatically assume I'm not going to get their favorite vote or their second favorite vote. They automatically figure that. Okay. I also, after I said that, what I said on the post, I also said no one gave me a negative points. I got +1s from everybody. So that's the important, because when you want to sabotage in the Northeast, if you wanted to sabotage, you would give them a negative mark. You would give them negative marks, not give them a +1. That's why I put that in the post. And when I was asked the question, because some people got hit viciously with sports, and I was trying to give them the reason why, because I knew that each one of my games, I didn't give my opponent a bad game. The closest I had to a bad game was against Brian Tucker. But really, that was Brian's fault, not mine, because he's the one that read the rules for the scenario. Granted, should I have known the rules of the scenario? Probably, but let's be honest. Half the times I don't read the rules packets, the Army breakdown for, you know, for extra points and stuff. Half the time I don't even bother doing it. To me, that starts bringing out my real competitive side, and I try really not to be competitive like I used to be. I mean, because back when I was in the Northeast, I tried being a shark like the Sharks, matching the Sharks. Well, in the Southeast, we're not really like that. So I try to really tone it down. And so I really try to. Maybe it doesn't show up, but trust me, compared to the way I used to be up in the Northeast, it's totally different. Now I'm going to give you a quick little history lesson on the Masters. The Masters was only supposed to be about battle for one reason. And the reason people didn't want Paragon, especially paint, because they were afraid people were going to buy professionally painted armies. And then someone say, no. But usually when it comes to that, people know who can paint from a long time ago. You know, if you just show up with average arms and all of a sudden you bring out a beautiful army, red flags go flying up all over the place. Everybody knows. You could talk to somebody about techniques with painting, and you'll know right off the bat, you know, the other things. Sports was also a big thing. They didn't want sports involved. And the reason why is because in the Northeast, the explanation that I just gave you, you know, if you were playing someone from one club, especially because it comes down to a numbers game, okay? The Northeast looked like a numbers game. So when clubs travel, they travel in full force. Because if you're playing one of their opponents, or vice versa, those +1s or +0s or negatives would hit you hard. And that could be the difference between someone winning a championship. Now, it was never considered bad form unless you mark somebody, which we'd call submarine somebody, is by giving them a negative mark. So in my comment that I made, and I keep on going, tried saying later on in the post too, I didn't say anything bad, because that's how it was done in the Northeast. Also down to the Mid-Atlantic, because it was a different style of game. That's why when Mid-Atlantic players would come down to the Southeast, it was a meeting of the different mindsets. So that would sort of break up. And I don't think there's anything wrong. I understand, like, if I'm at the top table and I got 10 of my players there and I played 2 of them, they're going to want to see me win, vice versa. And it's going to happen that you're going to mark first or second. It's just, come on. We'd be foolish not to. Just like here's another common thing that you've seen in the Northeast, also in other regions, especially big in 40K. If me and you were to play on the top table, I'd let you know what I'm giving you in sports. And you would let me know, so we don't try to sabotage one another. Because you could sabotage. I could sit there and say, oh, I gave you a +3. You looked across at me, and say, yeah, I'm going to give you a +3, but then give me a -1. You see what I'm saying? So that's the only time that it was wish call it. And I've seen people right there at the table, Most of the top gamers, they understand that, and they know it's common practice. Because if you're not going to vote for me, I ain't going to vote for you, because in that game, especially if you're like at the top table in like tournament game 5 or game 6, they're going to sit there and say, I can steal a point here. I can steal 2 points there. So that's why that all started, and a lot of it comes from the Masters. Like I gave a thing about player's choice. A lot of times I don't even throw my armies out there for player's choice. I didn't do it at this event either, because if you're going to win awards, you're already going to win enough awards. You don't need to win every single one. You don't need to be go to a tournament and get 20 awards. But with player's choice in the Northeast, what happened was one club, which really traveled really good, they would vote for their top painter. And the next year, the guy would bring the same army. Now, usually, once you've already seen an army, you're more wowed by the new stuff. But that stunning army would win. And it didn't take people long to figure out what was going on, that they were all putting all their votes into this one player. And he was a really good player, painter, but he wasn't that good. Where it just, you looked at his and then looked at everybody else and said, holy shit, no. And people would sit there and say, who the hell did you vote for? Who'd you vote for? How'd that one win? So just to give, I'm just trying to explain my remarks. I'll be honest with you, I only had one bad game against the Sons of Vulcan player. And that was my fault. And trust me, I went out of my way to make sure I rectified. And to try to make amends. Because I believe in karma. And but I didn't mean it as a shot when I said I played 3 Sons of Vulcans players. I was just trying to, But then again, the thinking down here is not different. Like, as soon as if I put that in a post to one of my Northeast guys who asked about the scores, first thing they said was, oh, I understand. Because it's more common knowledge up there than it is, down here. So I want to apologize to the Sons of Vulcans if they took my comment the wrong way. I hope me explaining this gives you a better understanding of what I was thinking. Congratulations. First of all, like, people said to me, like, right after the tour, oh, you didn't win Best General. Well, I'll be honest with you. Andrew would appreciate that award a lot more than I would. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad Andrew won that award. I love TNT. I thought by far it was the best tournament I went to the year. I had a blast with all my opponents. So I just wanted to cover some things. I hope people understand now what my comment meant. And if I offended any of the Sons of Vulcans, sincere apology. And I hope now you'll understand. And if you don't, like in the comments, I'll try to do another video to explain it a little bit better, just in case I didn't hit the points that I really wanted to. All right, guys, have a good day.